Hey everyone, it's Rob Ryder again on Tuesday, August 13th. Is that what it is? 2013? Yeah, something like that. You've seen this before. This is one way that a county government can be set up. Bay County, Michigan. Citizens directly to the county executive. And in this county, the county executive is an elected office. And then everybody answers through him to the citizens. So that's, we've seen that one before. Whereas this is Maricopa County organizational chart. And we'll back it out for a little bit. All right, this one's a little more complicated looking. You got the courts up here, right? So this is the judicial branch sitting on the top. And then everybody in a box, that's a double box, is an elected officer. So those are all elected officers. Those are elected officers. The Board of Supervisors are elected officers. They got a manager. He's not elected. He's appointed because it's a single box. So he's appointed. Looks like the clerk's appointed. Clerk of the board. And internal audit is appointed. And one of these guys sits as the chairman. It goes through him to the county manager, and then from them to all the different parts of the county. But then right here it says citizens serving citizens, right? It's just interesting. It's in between here and there, not up here someplace. Well, as it turns out, this chairman here has a lot of power. And so you're going to want to pay attention to this, because the one thing this guy can do is he can issue a subpoena. And you want to key in on the word subpoena for this one reason, because only a court of chancery can issue a subpoena. And so if he can issue a subpoena, you're in the court of chancery, right? It's being hid in this particular case in the Board of Supervisors. Here you go to the county executive. Now in Virginia, I think it was, they don't even use counties. They use cities. Anything that's a city is defining a county. And some places they have shires. It's different all over the place. But when we start getting an idea of what the powers are we're trying to find, it might make it a little easier. So in this case, it's county executive. To me, this is who you would take your complaint to. The one that I did on the earlier video today, I'd take it to this guy. But here, you would take a complaint to the chairman. And I'm going to show you why here in just a second. And there's reason to do this because this is an Arizona traffic ticket. This is the standard traffic ticket and complaint form that you would get if you got stopped in Arizona. DUI, accident, ticket, speeding, whatever. But it says it's a traffic ticket and complaint. Okay? And as part of this complaint, down here, right in here, how do I make that bigger? Make it bigger, 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 bigger. Okay, it calls itself a traffic ticket and complaint. And this is where the officer will eventually sign on it. Okay, I got it to where I want it. Okay, now let's go look at the criminal code, because traffic tickets are criminal offenses. So what to say in the criminal code of Arizona? A complaint may be laid before a magistrate. That would make sense. When the complaint is laid before the magistrate, he shall examine on oath the complainant. Okay, so that should be the cop. He's the one that pulled you over. He's the complainant. You would think. Now, I did a video on this earlier this year, back in March, right? This is something we did for Bobby, because it's real strange stuff what's happened in this case with Bob. Okay, but then it said complaint need not be verified. Now, this is where the important part is. Pay attention. You're going to love this. Complaint stating misdemeanor charges laid before a magistrate under the provisions of, or filed with the magistrate under the provisions of some other one, need not be sworn to if they contain a form of certification by the arresting officer in substance as follows. Okay, well, first of all, it just said by the arresting officer, so if they give you a ticket, you've just been arrested. They just admitted to it. And for misdemeanor charges, they don't have to swear to it as long as it says on the form, I hereby certify that I have reasonable grounds to believe and do believe that the person cited herein committed the offense described herein contrary to law. Let's go look and see what it says. I certify that upon reasonable grounds I believe the defendant committed the above violations. Doesn't say anything about being contrary to law, right? And I have served a copy of the complaint, and he's calling it a complaint on the defendant. So he is certifying that it's a complaint. It's just this certification here is nowhere near what this says. I certify that I have reasonable grounds to believe. Right? It does. I certify that upon reasonable grounds, and this one was I certify that I have reasonable grounds. He already had them. Here he's going to go find them. Upon reasonable grounds, I believe the defendant committed the above violations. Now, a violation, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to get to it in a second here, that's an ecclesiastic offense. Or it's an unlawful act done with force. Okay. So, and this is what it's supposed to say, that the person cited herein committed the offense. Here they're calling you the defendant. Here they call you the person. Anyways, they're nothing near the same. And the main thing is the one that has to be on there says contrary to law. And this doesn't say anything about being contrary to law. Which means, what's this all about? Well, then, he didn't have the right verification. He has to go before the magistrate and swear out the complaint. It's not a sworn complaint. What it is a simulated legal process. And here's his killer. B, a false certification under the provisions of subsection A of this section shall constitute perjury. The cop who filled this thing out and put it in just committed perjury. Because it's a false certification. It's a falsehood. Falsehoods get heard in courts of chancery. It's a matter of faith and sin. Yeah, violation. An act done unlawfully and with force. Right? And they pulled you over for having a blown headlight or something. I don't see any force there. Yeah, this was arrest without warrant. Notice to appear and complaint. So what happens with this piece of paper, right, is they turn this that should be a ticket into a promise to appear. Insert here the place of appearance, title, name, judge, right? So you're going to promise to appear. But they're calling it a complaint, right? But it's not a sworn complaint. For it to be a complaint, it had to be sworn to. For it to be a complaint may be laid before a magistrate. When a complaint is laid before the magistrate, he shall examine on oath the complainant. He didn't do that. It doesn't have this certificate on here, this, that they certify to. It's simulating a legal process. And I'm going to send this along, but I'm not going to read it all tonight. I'm kind of tired. This is what the officer is supposed to do. Violation of promise to appear, and this is what they're going to get you for. Any person knowingly violating his written promise to appear, given as provided in this article, is guilty of a Class 2 misdemeanor, regardless of the disposition of the charge upon which he was originally arrested. A promise to appear in court may be compiled with that appearance by counsel. So if you don't appear, now they're going to say you've committed a misdemeanor because you promised to appear, regardless that what got you here is a simulated legal process. You didn't appear. They're saying it doesn't matter that this Arizona traffic ticket and complaint was only used as a promise to appear. Go figure that out. Well, what are they doing? Well, they're simulating a legal process. 13.2814. A person commits simulating legal process if such person knowingly sends or delivers to another any document falsely purporting to be an order or other document that simulates civil or criminal process. Simulating the legal process is a Class 2 misdemeanor. So not only is he guilty of perjury, he's simulated a legal process. Perjury by inconsistent statements. Class 4 felony. 2.5 years of incarceration. And this set up here, this is the killer for him right here. A false certification under the provisions of subsection A of this section shall constitute perjury. And the ticket form they're using has a false certification on it. Every one of them is perjury. Every one that's happened is perjury. Who are you going to take your complaint to? Let's look at that next. That's the reason that chairman, this brother right here, Andrew Kunazik, is so powerful. Because the chairman, the supervisor shall elect a chairman who, in addition to his other duties, shall sign all orders and warrants of the board. So he can execute the orders of the board, and the board's going to be sitting there as the court. And he's going to execute their orders. A majority of the board constitutes a quorum. All sessions of the board shall be in public. Subpoena of witness. Again, subpoena. Only a court of chancery can use a subpoena. So if you remember from a few videos ago, talking about the history of Georgia, when Georgia first got set up, they had a thing they called the Court of the Ordinary. And it had 5 people on it. That's what you're looking at here. This is a court of the ordinary. Not just one man sitting with the power of an ordinary. They got a court of the ordinary, and this guy here as the chairman, who changes, as you'll see, it's not always the same guy. I think they wear the hat for a year and then somebody else gets it. But right now it's him. So the board may, by its chairman, issue subpoenas to compel attendance of any person and the production of any records relating to affairs of the county for examination upon any matter within the board's jurisdiction. Well, they're simulating a legal process within their jurisdiction, so it is their jurisdiction. A witness is bound to attend when served and to answer all questions which the witness would be bound to answer in the matter before a court. Because he is in court. He's in the court of chancery because he was subpoenaed, and only subpoenas are only used in the court of chancery. Blackstone's Commentaries. Obedience to subpoenas or to any order to attend or to testify may be enforced by the board, and for that purpose the board has all the powers conferred by law upon courts of record. It's a court of record with all the powers conferred by law, which is everything, because it's the court of justice. See, the court of chancery is the court of justice. We're not looking for a court of law, we're looking for a court of justice. And chancery is equity, and equity means justice. And so they developed the subpoena so that, because in common law, he who holds the title is the owner. They don't really care how they got it. If somebody was to break into your house and take the deed from your house, out of your house, they could legally claim to be the owner because they had the title. Now, of course, you know it's fraud, but what are you going to do about it? You know, he's bigger and got 10 men. Well, that's when you had to go to the court of chancery. And in the court of chancery, they would look at this, and then they would in personam call in the defendant. Right? This will be by their name called into court to answer why they shouldn't be found in contempt of court, or why this property you're asking for shouldn't be given back to you, or whatever it is. This is beautiful stuff. So it's the chairman who issues the subpoenas. The board may by its chairman. Okay, so the board may, so the board shall, may means shall, by its chairman. So maybe you'd have to go to just the chairman to get the subpoena, right? He's the only one that can do it. You take your complaint to him, and he'll issue a subpoena, which is a show cause hearing, why something should or should not be done. And it will be enforced by the board, and for that purpose, the board has the powers conferred by law upon the courts of record. So, you know, what will happen is somebody will get subpoenaed into court, and there'll be a panel of judges sitting there, and they're going to render a judgment, which will trigger an order, and those are signed by the chairman. And the warrants, right? So the chairman is acting like the sheriff of old in England, who only served for a year. Because here's a little bit on this guy's bio, right? This is the chairman right now. He was appointed in 1997, elected, 98, 2000, 2004, 2008. He has served as chairman this 5-member board 4 times, right? So, like, they keep flipping it around. He's been elected 4 times, and he's served as chairman of this 5-member board 4 times. But I bet if we were to go look at the other people's, we'll see that they have also served as the chairman. Kunasik has also prioritized justice and law enforcement. Yeah, real heavy on the law enforcement, but kind of hiding the justice. However, because he can issue a subpoena, and subpoenas are only used in a court of chancery, he can bring whoever signed this block right here to court for committing perjury, as well as the attorney of record, which is going to be some, I don't know, what were they called? Bob? District? No, not district attorney. Assistant prosecuting attorney. I think that's what they call in Maricopa County. Assistant prosecuting attorney. And Bob and him have had, it's crazy. We had put a complaint in before about this case. I mean, pointing these things out. And this attorney called Bob's wife's cell phone on a Saturday, I think it was, or maybe it was on a Tuesday, saying that he had missed his, maybe it must have been on a Tuesday, saying that he had missed his hearing. And Bob's looking at his paperwork, and the hearing he thinks he's supposed to have is like 2 days away yet. What hearing was it? I think it was a hearing because we had put the complaint in, and they had a hearing in this frickin' court Board of Supervisors. They just, for some reason, didn't tell Bob. Well, now we're going to go back with about the same kind of complaint and take it to Andrew. Now, where Roe is, they have the same setup. They have a board of, maybe I think there's commissioners, and one of them sits as the chairman. And when she went there today and talked to the secretary and asked her, is he the chief administrator of the county, she said yes. Right? So one thing you can go look for is go into the county go into the county part of your statutes or codes or laws or whatever they are, and just see what the chairman does. Or you really have to figure out how your county's set up. Or put in the word subpoena. Let's go back to that. Just put the word subpoena into your state's laws and see what comes up, because subpoenas are issued out of courts of chancery. And we're looking for one that's somewhere within the county. County subpoenas. Boom, you're going to know where to go to find the court. And you're going to want to put a complaint in pointing out the sin that they've done, because this is an ecclesiastic court now. And remember, ecclesiastic courts have exclusive jurisdiction in a matter of faith and sin. And they have agreed to have these heard in the ecclesiastic court, as far as that goes, before the bishop, whatever it takes, because they've put instruments into court cases that are under a notary seal. And if you put it under a notary seal, boom, it just became an ecclesiastic. It became hearable in an ecclesiastic court. They just got concurrent jurisdiction. And all this time we've just been looking for justice and thinking we had to go to the courts. But look at this, man. Here's a court sets up here all by itself. The courts don't even fucking touch, they don't touch, the rest of all this that happens to run the show. The citizens are down here, and here's the Board of Supervisors. All the people up here have actually assumed the office. They're de facto. They're going to have a problem with the Bishop of Rome here real soon, because September 1st, he's going to start getting down on de facto officers who have anything to do with administering church property. And your estate is church property. It's your church. That's why we're also trying to go to get our citizenship in the Holy See, claim our office, go to a different jurisdiction, get out of this craziness here, and come back and be able to speak in the name of the Lord with the credentials to back it up. And or maybe they'll just do it all on their own September 1st. Shut her all down, because they certainly can. If you go look at how they've expanded the laws, and look at that one on enslavement that's on the video before this, or the one before that, I don't remember. Enslavement. Vatican definition of enslavement, right? Somebody who thinks they have property rights over you, that's enslavement. So who thinks they own me? Right? Who's got the legal title? Who's not administering the property correctly? That's a bad day for them on September 1st. Can't hardly wait. Until then, in case that doesn't work, right? Well, Andrew Kunazik in Maricopa County can issue a subpoena. See who can issue a subpoena in your county and take him a complaint. See what happens. See you guys.